Untamed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The platform.
iOS It's Only Sport, Martin Devlin, the host, alongside myself, producer Lachlan Waugh, condensing the best bits of today's show into a 45-minute podcast for your listening pleasure. What are we talking? We're talking FIFA Women's World Cup. That kicks off tonight. The Football Ferns up against Norway at Eden Park in the very first match of the tournament. The weather, well, it's not looking so good. It's a bit rainy, but hey, it'll be a great occasion regardless. Longtime sports broadcaster and football fanatic Miles Davis joins the show to talk about that. talkSPORT cricket editor Jon Norman with us to celebrate Stuart Broad taking Test wicket number 600 in his career. He's one of 5 players in the history of Test cricket to do so. What an achievement. As well as that, Greg Martin, Triple M breakfast host and former Wallabies fullback. He talks Wallabies coach Eddie Jones, who keeps on jabbing away at the All Blacks in the media, which, I don't know, it's typical Eddie, fair enough. Is it helping deter from the fact that the Wallabies have been pretty damn ordinary to start the 2023 Test season? We'll see. All that and much more to come.
But first up, as always, tablets in hand, I say gather my flock. We've got a Football Women's World Cup, and our Ferns are playing tonight. Let's go to the mountaintop.
We live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots.
Hip, hip, hooray. Tonight we are underway. The FIFA Women's World Cup I'm talking about. Forget the mainstream media narrative. Dismiss the hyperbole and exaggerative nonsense. Look, this is a huge event. Make no mistake about that. In terms of ticket sales, I think 320,000 plus before a ball is kicked is absolutely awesome. 40,000 at Eden Park tonight. Then there's another 28 matches. So roughly averaging it out, you're probably going to get about 10,000 plus per match. For women's football in New Zealand, and for matches, most of them, that don't involve a New Zealand team. Celebrate it, you FIFA morons. Celebrate it, sports minister. Only the Warriors consistently get over that number for any sporting side in this country. The Phoenix don't, and that's the men's professional football side. Only about 4 or 5 Super Rugby matches throughout the whole season achieved those attendances in a country where rugby has been our number one sport forever. On the Stuff website today, reporter Andrew Vorman. Now, I know Andrew. He's a good dude. He called tonight's game, I quote, the biggest match in the history of New Zealand football. Oh, for God's sake, mate. Where's your self-respect? You can't believe this rot that you're writing. The All Whites played Brazil in 1982 and Spain at the World Cup. The All Whites played the defending champs Italy, got a draw in South Africa in 2010. By definition, those have to be bigger because it's the Men's World Cup and it's the biggest sporting event on the planet. The playoff matches to go into those tournaments in both 1981 and 2009. I mean, those matches, the importance of those to get a New Zealand team for the first time ever to go to one of these tournaments, what, they don't rate either? I just sit there and I just shake my head at this. There is no logic. There is no common sense. And why are you propelled to continue to peddle this rubbish when you know that it's not true? Why the insistence from the New Zealand sporting media to overhype this and pretend it's something that it's not? It is not the biggest sporting event ever to be held here. By definition, it can't be. The 2011 Rugby World Cup, the All Blacks played 7 matches. Every one was a sellout. That's over 300,000 fans just watching those games. We had 4 pools of 5, all the round robins, then the knockouts. Add up the attendances. Eden Park was a sellout for every single game. You're talking about over 1 million people watching. The reporting, the so-called journalism around this event from mainstream media here is embarrassing. And I hope that you, as an audience, can see through it. I hope that you message them, the mainstream media, across every single forum that they have and tell them to just stop this, please. It is a huge event. It's massive, this Women's World Cup. It's one of the biggest ever to be held here. But to pretend that it's something it's not, I just don't know what the point of this exactly is. Now, let's look at the Football Ferns. Don't buy into the excess about them either. This team has no chance of winning the tournament. It's got a very slim chance of making it out of the group stage, a less than 50% chance of scoring more than 1 goal across all 3 games. 15 World Cup matches to date, 3 draws, and 1 or 2 goals. So good luck to the Football Ferns tonight, and good luck in all 3 games. Seriously, going to need a really big, fat dose of it.
Devlin.
What do you want? We want information. Information. You won't get it.
The platform.
Sports news headlines, Lachlan. I got blocked ears and you got a blocked nose.
I thought your ears are fixed now.
Well, I'm putting drops in them. That's why I was in the middle of what was going on. Well, not in the middle, but I walked into it today.
I thought you were going to the doctors for some blue pills.
Well, I just happened to take a photo of one of the constabulary with an awesome-looking weapon across his chest, because the doctor's surgery, where I go, ladies and gentlemen, is but a block away from what the shootout that was happening. And I took a photo and I posted it on social media on Twitter, and it just happens to have a big Viagra sign sitting right there, which everyone has pointed out as to that's why you're at the doctor, Martin. Look, I'll tell you what, if I was, I would have no at all shame in telling you that is the case. I've always thought if there's a little bit of floppy going on later on in life, pop a bluey, mate. Who cares? Who cares? But it wasn't. I've got blocked ears, by the way.
Okay. To the news.
See, you didn't like that, did he?
No, I didn't
like that at all, you see?
No, I brought it up.
Well, you opened the door to it, didn't you? That's right.
Well, we'll start off with the FIFA Women's World Cup. The opening match tonight between New Zealand and Norway at Eden Park will continue as planned, despite the shooting this morning in Auckland's CBD. This being confirmed by Prime Minister Chris Hipkins and Sports Minister Grant Robertson. However, Taki Auckland Unlimited have released a statement saying that the opening of the FIFA Fan Festival had been delayed until later today, pending further advice from New Zealand Police. The Fan Festival, is that the thing going on at the Cloud?
Yeah, look, this is another point of difference between the 2011 Rugby World Cup and this World Cup. There is a fan zone that's at the Cloud in Auckland. The whole of the waterfront was a fan zone.
Yeah, make it the whole...
the 2011 Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, make it the whole CBD area. The whole waterfront area.
I'm not even sure there are big screens and those kind of things that they had for that tournament either. I haven't seen them down the waterfront. But anyway, we will keep you updated if we get any more information on that. 40,000 expected at the park tonight.
Yeah, I'm reading up on it here and I can't... yeah, it's at the Cloud. Yeah, that's where it is. All right, Shane van Gisbergen will return to NASCAR on August 14th, confirmed for his second appearance. This time he'll be driving at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Verizon 200. Rugby news, a combined New Zealand and Australian 15 will face the British and Irish Lions in an unofficial fourth test of the historic side's 2025 tour. The Lions released their 9-match schedule for the Tour of Australia in 2 years, which includes games against Super Rugby sides, the Wallabies, and an invitational Anzac outfit. I don't mind this at all. I'm actually kind of a fan, as long as it doesn't include top-tier All Blacks players, if it includes sort of second-tier guys who don't actually make the All Blacks. Sticking with rugby, All Blacks coach Ian Foster has released a group of 5 players to bank some game time in the NPC pre-season this weekend ahead of next Saturday's Rugby Championship finale against the Wallabies in Melbourne, also a Bledisloe Cup opener as well. Anton Leonard-Brown, Luke Jacobson, Summer Penefino, Josh Lord and Cam Roigard will all feature in the Chiefs Country Centurion Cup competition. There's 2 potential debutants that have been called up to the Black Caps for next month's T20 tours of the United Arab Emirates and England, alongside returning pace bowling star Cole Jameson. That's good to see. Otago Volts batting all-rounder Dean Foxcroft and 20-year-old Auckland Aces leg spinner Adi Ashok have earned their maiden call-ups. Stuart Broad claimed his 600th Test wicket for England. Under-fire wicketkeeper Johnny Bairstow took 3 catches, so he actually did his job. And Australia batters kept the runs ticking along to reach 299 for 8 at stumps on the first day of the 4th Ashes Test in Manchester. That wrapped up earlier this morning. Broad is just one of 5 cricketers all-time to take 600 or more wickets. Martin, who are the other 4?
Okay, I'll let you know straight away. Mutaya, Shane Warne, have to be Jimmy Anderson, Broad, one other.
He is also one of 3 guys to have taken 10 wickets in an innings.
Oh, that would be Anil Kumble. There you go, thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. And finally, Liverpool have agreed a deal in principle worth £12 million plus add-ons to sell captain Jordan Henderson to Saudi Arabian club Al Ettifaq, which is also the club that is now coached by Steven Gerrard. As well as that, Manchester City have agreed, it seems, a deal for Josko Gvardiol, who was one of the best young centre-backs in all of world football. I don't know if it's actually confirmed, but this has been rumoured for a long time. Gvardiol, that's a really good signing for Man City. All right, that's what's making news, madam.
Devlin.
Oh, my goodness!
goodness me!
The platform.
He's our go-to guy for all matters football, blah, 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 blah. He blows his trumpet. He never gets no crumpet. Miles Davis. Miles Davis. Let's kick it off with this match tonight against Norway. I don't care what the rankings are. I think we're 12 or 11 behind them, Miles. That doesn't actually matter. I think there's a huge drop-off between the very best teams that are here and those that aren't.
Exactly what my point, mate. Have you been nicking my ideas again?
Again.
No, because you look at that, and I looked at it as well at the rankings. There's, a 12 for the Norwegian, 26 for New Zealand, and those fluctuate up and down. But if you get outside, probably the top 4 or 5 are a rank above sort of, 5, 6 down to 12, 13. But from there, the drop-off is marked. I mean, it's totally different to the men's rankings where you could expect a close game between any side in the top 30, probably, 2 sides in the top 30. It is a massive drop-off. So I think that's going to be some people might look at that, but we might have a chance. The reality is, I mean, if they get a result tonight, even a draw, if they get a draw tonight, that'd be amazing. A phenomenal result. I mean, this is a side that in 5 World Cups has played 15 games, not won a game and had 3 draws. So, their record's not good. Being hosts, obviously, and I think the crowd, I saw something like over 40,000 that they were expecting maybe a sellout at Eden Park, which would be fantastic. And you expect the home side to get some support. Football's a growing game. Women's football's exploding all over the world. So there's going to be some interest. I doubt if there'll be much interest in lots of the other games. Philippines against Switzerland, for instance, 58. I mean, that's an exaggeration. So they've got a chance. But only one side has lost. The host nation has lost the opening game of a World Cup. We might be about to see a second side.
Well, good stat that. Norway, raging favourites to beat the Football Ferns tonight. To get out of the group would be a massive achievement, a major achievement. As you say, I mean, those stats speak for themselves, don't they? We've seen, our team, and I do remember a couple of World Cups ago, our most experienced side, they actually went to, I think it was Canada, talking of winning the tournament, and I don't think even scored a goal. So, first and foremost, what do you expect tonight as opposed to what do you want to see tonight?
Well, I don't expect. I expect Norway to have most of the ball. They lost 2-0 to them up in Oslo just recently, but that was a game where the Norwegians would have just been going through the motions. I expect Norway to have the possession. I expect them to put most of the pressure on, and New Zealand's best chance of grabbing a result is either to get some goal on a breakaway, which they're not exactly. A profligate, or not profligate, they're not proficient in scoring goals, or just hold them out. And I think it's going to be a backs-to-the-wall effort. They'll definitely get lifted by the crowd, and that's Olive, by the way. She's excited about the game. But you just don't know what that's going to do. Shut up, you two mongrels. God almighty. All it is a bloody dog down on the road. We look down on the road and there's a little pug, like looks like a French bulldog actually, wandering along the back with the 2 gay owners. You see them wandering around the tower all the time, and the dogs look out the window and go mental. Anyway, they both reckons that Norway are going to win quite comfortably.
Right, okay, we'll see a couple of Chelsea's there walking their pug, that's okay. And also Olive defending, like I hope the Football Ferns do defend tonight. So then it's the Philippines, then it's Switzerland, and we need 4 points to get out of this group. The United States have arrived. They're back-to-back champs. Obviously, everyone's looking at them thinking that they, could very well go and do something that no team has ever done in men's or women's, which is win 3 in a row. I've mentioned England, Germany, even though they lost to Zambia recently, Spain, Fred said the other day, maybe France the other day. I think Sweden, and maybe even the Matildas are an outside bet, especially if you're talking about crowds lifting in that, because of the number of ticket sales there. They'll be playing to a packed house every time they kick a ball.
Yeah, I think the Australians could be the real upset card, and definitely from the 2 host nations, they are favoured to go one better. They've actually got a bit of a profile over there. I mean, over 80,000 at the Stadium Australia expected for the game tonight against Ireland. I think 10 o'clock, I think it kicks off. That's a phenomenal crowd, phenomenal interest for a country. I mean, they'd struggle to sell that many tickets to their rugby side, their men's rugby side. So to sell it for women's football is a phenomenal effort. But they, like Kiwis, like winners. They like people, and I think the Australians have beaten. I think they beat France. They beat England at Wembley. You know, or in the UK, I'm not sure if it's at Wembley, but they beat England 2-0 as well. And England, with reigning European champions, had been on a big run. So I think the Australians are definitely, for me, are the favoured outsiders. And I'm not going to say that they're going to win it, but I think they'll get out of their group and they might go pretty close.
To hear the full interview, download the platform at the App Store. Via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to the whole show and all of the interviews in full. It's time, though, Lachlan.
Next!
I'm the Minister of Common Sense, which basically means I possess the common sense.
Next!
Time to play a game of what is more chance of happening?
We need to talk.
Oh, God.
We need to talk.
Does that not send shudders and shivers every time you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
As a man, these are 4 of the most frightening words in the English language.
We need to talk. We
now
need to talk.
I'm watching sport. I've got to go out. I've got a mate. I've got some beer. I've got some lady. What is more chance of happening, Lachlan? I present the scenario to you and you tell me truthfully what you think about it. The Football Ferns beat Norway tonight in the World Cup opener.
The other one. And me, I'm the other one.
The Football Ferns beat Norway tonight in the World Cup opener, or Christchurch gets given the green light to host the Commonwealth Games as their mayor, Mr. Mate.
That one, absolutely.
That one's got more chance of happening.
The Football Ferns are not beating Norway. Okay, they could get a stingy draw, and that would feel like a win.
I'd love that.
I'd love
take
it as
that every
well.
day of the week.
We are not beating Norway. Stop it. Christchurch.
But according to the New Zealand mainstream sports media, there's only 11 places between us, and we've taken 4. We've just beaten Vietnam. It's not.
Yes!
Biggest game in New Zealand football history.
What is more chance of happening, Lachlan? The Football Ferns beat Norway tonight.
Okay, can I just stop you right now? All of the scenarios you're going to give me, I'm going to go with the second option.
All right. Or Rory finally breaks his long drought and wins.
Rory breaks his long major drought. 9 years, isn't it? 9 years since
something
he's won
like
a major.
that. Yeah, 30-something majors.
He'll break that drought and he'll win the British Open. That has got more chance of happening than.
He's
Football
actually got a
Ferns.
reasonable chance.
He does. Well,
Yeah.
He's not at it. It's not like you're saying Tiger Woods or something. I don't even know if
Okay,
he's
no, I'm
playing,
not being
but,
silly about it, no.
Yeah.
I'm trying to present a scenario that has a possibility. All right.
Yes!
What is more chance of happening? The Football Ferns beat Norway tonight in the World Cup opener, or England win this 4th Ashes test?
England win this fourth Ashes test. They've actually started off all right.
Yeah,
$2.99 for 8's not a bad position to be in, considering I think every test so far, their opening day has been appalling, or they've made appalling choices. First test declaring so early on, second test getting nothing with the ball. So it's actually been an all right start for England.
$2.99 for 9, I think it is, or 8.
It's 8 for 8.
Okay, for 8.
Or it's $2.98 for 9. There's an 8 in there somewhere.
And they've got their bowlers at the crease. So Australia aren't going to bat for much longer than this. No. 300. And if you looked at the last, I think, test match, that no one got a score above 300. Rain in the forecast, of course, because it is Manchester. It is Manchester. But yeah, I think England are certainly poised. I mean, they've been in all the games so far. 2-1 lead, remember, in the series to Australia. Finally,
Yes!
What is more chance of happening, Lachlan? The Football Ferns beat Norway tonight in the World Cup opener, or one of these 2 teams who are playing in the NRL tonight, St. George or are playing the Tigers.
Oh,
okay, so
what a garbage game.
This is your choice. The Football Ferns beat Norway tonight, or one of those 2 teams does not finish last. It's like a triple-double negative here, okay? So
someone else gets the wooden spoon.
Someone else gets the wooden spoon other than St. George or the Tigers, okay?
Let me get the table.
Well, the only other team that's even in a contest for this most prized of prizes is Gunny's Doggies, and they've got a couple of wins ahead.
Yeah, they do. Oh, gosh.
You're going to say the Ferns are going to win, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm going to say the other one. Because there's a strong possibility that the Bulldogs just crater and lose the rest of their games, or the Dragons or the West Tigers get a couple of wins. That certainly could happen. The Football Ferns are not winning. If they might get a draw. Look, if they win, I'll be so happy and pleasantly surprised. I'm not having a go and saying, oh, they're rubbish and they're an embarrassment, all this stuff. They're just not good enough to beat Norway. This is like saying the All Whites are going to beat Blimmin, I don't know, who's it, Croatia or Belgium, one of these, not the top of top teams, but kind of just a smidge below. But they're not going. I just don't think they will. So, no, I'll say there's more of a chance of someone such as the Bulldogs or the Roosters or the Dolphins, someone outside of the Dragons or Tigers, more chance of one of them getting the wooden spoon than the Football Ferns winning tonight.
Ashes. Day 1, Test 4, Old Trafford. And history today where Stuart Broad became only the 5th person ever on the planet to reach the grand total of 600 Test wickets. What an achievement. talkSPORT's cricket editor Jon Norman all over this. Jon, you've spent an awful lot of time, a lovely amount of time, let me say, covering cricket. It's your love, it's your job, a huge part of your life. You've watched Stuart Broad over a number of years, 600 wickets, only the second pace bowler to achieve that total. It's really worth stopping and celebrating, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very fortunate. I was at the Oval in 2009. I was at Chestnut Street in 2013, and I was at Trent Bridge in 2015. They're his 3 most famous spells of bowling. All 3 not only came against Australia, they came in matches that won the series for England. How crazy is that? He's not just capable of conjuring up match-winning performances. He's conjured up 3 series-winning performances against Australia. There isn't anybody in the world that could, no Englishman has ever been able to say such a thing. Nobody has taken more Ashes wickets now than Stuart Broad. He went past Ian Botham today. And his record against Australia is just is extraordinary. I suppose the only minor blot on his CV is the fact that he actually got injured 2 matches into England's 2010-11 Ashes winning series in Australia. So he missed out on the glory, essentially. But he was the only bowler that came out of the 2013-14 series with any credit whatsoever. So the guy is he's a phenomenon, really. And I suppose the only thing that you could say about him is that he doesn't actually get as much credit as he should do, because he's always kind of trailing in the wake of Jimmy Anderson. He was even bowling from the James Anderson stand today when he picked up wicket number 600. And of course, Jimmy Anderson, he was off the field when he did it. So he's an incredible specimen. I'm not sure how much longer he's got, actually. Maybe he's got 2 tests left, including this one. So enjoy him while you can.
Just in terms of the greatest ever fast bowlers, and I go back probably a little bit further than you. I go back to DK Lilly, Richard Hadley, obviously in his pomp. You talk about those West Indians, the quartet, the quintet, the sextupletet, or whatever it is, of those Wasim, Waka, White Lightning, Alan Donald, and then go back to Freddie Truman, the first to get 300 wickets. I mean, the list is endless. Does his name deserve to be up there right amongst the very best?
Well, it's an interesting question, because it's very rare that you ever hear Stuart Broad mentioned in the list of the very best England bowlers that have ever been produced, let alone the world's best. Does he deserve to be up there amongst the likes of some of the true greats? I'm not sure he's ever possessed the skills of some of those that you mentioned. I think he himself would suggest that, he mentioned Glenn McGrath. In fact, it's quite interesting today. I was broadcasting the show, which I host between 7 and 8 o'clock, with another former top class, former number 1 fast bowler in the world, former number 1 bowler in the world, Steve Harmison. And he was bowling at a time of some of the absolute legends of the game. And I was looking out onto the field, and there was Stuart Broad deep in conversation with Glenn McGrath. And he actually made mention of Glenn McGrath, saying he was his hero growing up. Which is a curious thing to say, as an Englishman. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think, I'm not sure he is. I mean, it sounds absolutely ridiculous when you consider the feats that he's achieved and the longevity and the wickets, but I'm not quite sure he is. I just think that he's always known his own game. Michael Vaughan, speaking on the radio today, who gave him his debut as a captain, said that he was blown away by how knowledgeable Stuart Broad was about his own game from a very, very early age, how keen he was to learn, and how he demanded his own way, essentially. Even as a 21-year-old, however old he was, he came into the England team and demanded his own fields. So Michael Vaughan was, blown away from that. Best part of 20 years ago, not quite 20 years, 17 years ago. So yeah, a very long-winded answer, and I'm not sure I really answered your question. But I think if you were to put together the greatest England bowling attack ever, I'm not even sure Stuart Broad would get into the second 11, which is an incredible thing to say, really.
The Tight Five.
5 separate sporting topics, roughly a minute or so on each. And when the bell goes ding, we'll move quickly on to the next one. The Football Ferns tonight, give me a score prediction. Who gets the wooden spoon in the NRL? And is it one of these two teams, Lock, tonight? St George are playing the Tigers. Do the Warriors win tomorrow? Big game against Canberra tomorrow night. Who wins the British Open? Who are you betting on? Has Messi already won for Inter Miami? I've got some amazing stats watching SportsCenter yesterday about the impact that this guy has already made at part of the world. Sal's NBL Finals. Let's kick it off with the Football Ferns tonight. Score, please.
I will say 2-0 to Norway.
Yeah, it was the score last time we played them. They didn't have their full team. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm hoping that we get a goal tonight because I think that if we can manage to get one and back at Onion, it's going to do an amazing amount for the confidence of our women because when you look at the performance of the Football Ferns in the last 3 World Cups, I mean, don't even go back further than that because it gets even worse. We haven't won a match in the last 3. We have drawn 3 games. And in the last one, 2019, we scored 1 goal in those 3 games. So, to get a goal would be damn good. I can't see us beating Norway at all unless they have a shocker. Maybe the weather's going to play a big part because it's going to be pouring with rain, windy, which will play into our hands. Keep it nice and tight, compact. Maybe they'll get a bit nervous. I'm thinking that they beat us. I'm hoping to. I'm hoping we do 3-1. I'll say 3-1.
3-1. You think we'll get a goal?
I think we'll get a goal. Yeah, I do. I think we'll get one off the set piece. Who gets the wooden spoon in the NRL, and is it going to be
Dragons? I'd say Dragons.
So whoever loses tonight, St George Tigers, are they wooden spooners?
Probably. There's still 8. Most teams still have about 7 or 8 games left.
But I mean, look, the reality of it is, pal, is that you look at that and you think, oh, okay, so 5 or 6 games left, or they might win 3 or 4. No, they won't. They've won 3 out of 17. Have the Tigers? The Dragons have won 4 out of 17. They're not winning 3 or 4 out of the next 5 or 6, are they? They might win
the
1 or 2.
The Dogs could crater.
Yeah, well, the Dogs have won 6 games.
Between those 3 for the spoon, which is quite funny because 2 of those 3 teams many people thought could crack the 8 this year. I'd lean towards the Dragons. I just think they've been through a lot more turmoil in terms of coach being sacked, players wanting out of the team, and I think the Tigers have a better roster. And I also think they've got a far more at peace, if that makes sense, at peace coaching group with Tim Sheens and Benji Marshall there. I'd back the Tigers a bit more to avoid the spoon. And they've got better players.
Yeah. Do the Warriors win tomorrow night?
Well, I want to say yes, but I also was very adamant that they wouldn't win both these games against the Sharks and the Raiders. They'll drop one. So I'll say they'll lose.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a coin flip. Nothing against the Warriors.
Hang on a second. You haven't rated the Raiders all year. I was on their train. I was on their train.
You are flipping the script. I
was backing Raiders. I was backing my mate Ricky, Sticky Ricky.
I said I thought the Raiders would beat the Warriors in Canberra earlier this year, mate. I've always backed the Raiders. I mean, they're weirdly up and down. They're a bit like Parramatta, Parramatta have been in the finals for about 5 or 6 straight years, but very up and down, the Raiders. But no, they're still always going to be there or thereabouts by the end. To their credit, they're sitting 4th on the table, for goodness sake. I find it hard to believe the Warriors can win 6 straight to end the year or whatever it is from here.
Well, I think the most anyone has won this year on trot is 5 consec, okay?
Just happened to a couple of teams, I think.
Yeah, so, big ask. Not impossible, but big ask. But then to go sort of 7 or 8 on the trot, I mean, that would be...
very un-Warriors.
If they managed to do this, if Warriors managed to do this, they would actually probably go to the final series as one of the favourites, or probably even finish 2nd or 3rd on the table if that's the case. I can't see anyone overtaking the Panthers, but Warriors have only won 1 game less so far. Who wins the Open? Now, normally you're pretty good at jinxing somebody at one of the major golf championships. Jon Rahm.
Jon Rahm. Yeah, I placed a couple of bets on him And I think every time I bet on him, he just did poorly. Well, no, a couple of times he did poorly. And there was one time where I bet on him to finish in the top 10 as part of a multi. And he was tied for 9th. The thing is, there was about 5 guys tied for 9th, so I think there was a total of 13.
And you didn't get your multi.
As I didn't get my multi.
Because
so
if you tied for 9th, then you're 13th or 14th or something.
Well, yeah, and I called up TAB and had a go at them, and then they said, no, because there was actually 13 or 14 guys. I said, yeah, but he was in the top 10. He was tied for 9th. That's part of the multi. And they said, no, sorry, we can't give you the money. And, there's a few expletives that came out of my mouth and whatnot. But anyway, and then the first time I didn't bet on him, he won his first major, which was something like the Open, or it was one of the US ones in 2021.
Well, Graham Agars will join us shortly and give us an expert opinion on this, but yours is who?
I'll go with one of 2 guys. I haven't read up much on the course and the conditions, so obviously it can suit some golfers more than others. My 2 would be Will Zalatoris, because I think he's due. Last year he was in contention pretty much every major, and he's fallen off a little bit this year. And my other one will be Jordan Spieth, who's in a similar boat. Both have been in good form over the last couple of years, and I think it's more a matter of time before they actually get back up into the top 2 or 3 of a major.
I'm going to say Ryan Fox has an absolute blinder. He hit 337 off the tee today. Biggest drive so far out of anyone in practice, and I think he's going to finish somewhere between 6 and 10.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's going to be his best finish in a major. Finally, has Messi already won for Inter Miami? Yesterday, he was paraded in front of the media. 500 applications to go to this pseudo press conference. It was whittled down to 200. A 15-minute appearance. No questions were allowed to be asked. He said nothing. He stood there, cuddled David Beckham, a couple of other bods and sods. I didn't know who they were, obviously team officials or whatever. Juggled a ball like you do. It was being described on ESPN yesterday as like Michael Jordan going to play in an overseas league after winning his 6th NBA title in 1998. That's what they're saying, that the impact of Messi at this stage of his life, his career, coming to play in the MLS, Major League Soccer, shot goal soccer. But he's a current World Cup champion and was absolutely instrumental in Argentina winning that tournament last year, right? Would you agree with that comparison?
I think so. I think it's very fair. I would actually, I wasn't around in the 90s, so I didn't, well, I was, but I was very young. So I don't quite know but I, based on what people have said and the way it was written, is that there was nothing like Michael Jordan at his peak of his popularity. So no, it's a very good comparison, because I think that if you talk about the most famous, biggest athletes of the last 10 to 15 years, the 2 that immediately come to mind on a global scale, not just the Western world, would be Messi and Ronaldo. That'd be the 2. Mm-hmm. And so when you get a big name like that, it's got to have amazing impacts. The thing is,
plus also you've got to remember that Latinos are huge population in not only Miami but the whole of Florida, which is why that they have made the Florida Marlins the Miami Marlins, and they're really trying to hook into to that demographic and that racial grouping down there in that part of the world. They love their football, absolutely adore their football, even though Inter Miami, I think, have lost 11 or 12 on the trot, something like that. They're at the bottom of the table. But you just see, I saw a packed stadium in the pouring rain with 500 media applications and thought, wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that many other sports people that would arrive in that part of the world and actually command that kind of attention.
Well, it'll become a hub for people to go to.
Yeah. Like, I mean, going to see Inter Miami and watching him play will be a ticket, won't it?
It's like when you go to, it's like when people go to the US, and it's like, I'll use my uncle and auntie as an example. We went on a family trip with them a few years ago. We went to LA when my sister lived there. And they wanted to go see the Lakers. When people go to New York, they want to see the Knicks. They want to see the Yankees.
Yeah, you're right.
You know teams that are globalized. And I think that's very much what will happen here, where people go, oh, well, Messi's playing in Miami. Let's go to Miami. So it'll draw in so many people. Maybe this is pessimistic. Is it a bit wasteful at the same time?
No, look, he's done everything, won everything.
I know, but the US has their 2 or 3 sports.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, look, it was either that or Saudi Arabia, and I'm glad he's gone to the States. Yeah. Eddie Jones, mate, reckons that the Aussies are just a broken car, mate. All they got to do is fix it. Well, former Wallaby fullback, Triple M breakfast host out of Brisbane, Greg Martin. He's one man that has kept the faith with EJ the whole time. Is it wearing a little thin? I don't even know where to start. We've got the Ashes, of course. You're trying to seal that. We've got the Football Women's World Cup kicking off tonight. Let's start, though, with me old mate, Eddie Jones, mate, who says that the Wallabies are just a broken car that needs fixing, mate.
He also said the All Blacks better watch out when coming.
Yeah.
I know, mate. 2 games, 2 losses. it's dire straits, but most people are still buying the snake oil salesman line. But we ain't got the cattle, mate. I think that's what we've got to face, the facts. We maybe have a couple of guys coming back too. Oh, no, it's not enough. We don't have the players. And poor Eddie, he'll go berserk. Did you see how many headsets he broke in the
It's brilliant, mate. It's just brilliant, wasn't it?
Oh,
just brilliant.
God, he's like a gamer getting badly beaten in Gran Turismo or something. Yeah, they would have copped it this week, I'll tell you what. But, they're a long way off the mark, mate. I think we're 8th in the world at the moment, but your blokes was sensational. Actually, that game of yours, the All Blacks South Africa, that was you started Tests against Australia like that so many times. So it was a familiar script. Teams can crawl back into it, but they can't beat you after a start like that. So we're way out of the game.
That's what I want to focus on for a start, because we did that against Argentina as well. And here, obviously, in New Zealand, when it comes to the All Blacks, we look negative first, and then we look negative second, and then we start bitching about them third. And it's, they've dropped off in the second half, and they've let the opposition come. But, we've destroyed these teams in the first 20 minutes. And then basically have just... I don't know whether we've had to put the foot down after that. Certainly against the Africans we did. We had to come back. But I felt that game was in control. Did you?
Oh, God, yeah. You guys were amazing. And psychologically, they were beaten because you thrashed them where they love winning at set pieces. And then you broke them apart in transitions. It was an extraordinary display. It was scary. I don't know where Eddie mustn't have watched it, I would figure. That's all. Oh, dearie me. It's tough being an Australian rugby fan. And yesterday there was a big launch of the Lions tour in 2 years' time. They announced the dates and everything like that. So, look over here, look what's coming, Don't worry about the World Cup. We've already pushed on, I think.
Okay, so in terms of your Wallabies, I'm still looking at that draw at the World Cup, which was, done in 2007, obviously, because obviously Wales were a good team at that stage. And you should get out of your group, and you should also make at least, you'd think, the semi-finals. And so you've only got to win probably one real big game against a really tough opponent at the World Cup, and surely that team is still capable of that.
Yeah, are they? I start to ask, mate. That's now twice in 2 years Argentina have beaten Australia, and they're our most likely quarterfinal opponent. So she's going to be hard. You know how teams go into World Cup with now Australia holds no aura over Argentina at all. So they go on the field, Argentina, going, we've beaten them the last 2 games, we'll be right. So that scares me, because previously you'd go, we'll be right, we'll clean them up, and then we'll be in the semis, and anything can happen if you make the semis. But yeah, with this Australian team, I have no faith at the moment, mate, and I don't see where the improvement's going to come.
The Matildas at the World Cup, and, this has been touted as the biggest sporting event ever in New Zealand. Yeah. I'd kind of argue that perhaps the 2011, but it doesn't really matter about it. Anyway, your women are actually... Well, they're not the favourites, but they've actually got a chance here, because you're going to make the knockout stage. How much hype is around this?
The hype is extraordinary. If you think there's a little bit of hype over in New Zealand, multiply that by 10, what's going on over here. It's virtually shutting down all our top stadiums. The Broncos have got to play the Bunnies, and that would draw 45,000 at Suncorp Stadium. They've got to play them at a stadium up the Sunshine Coast that holds 7,000. So they're actually... All the other sports are bitching, going, we knew it was happening, but we forgot. Hold on, and they'll get 80,000 people at Stadium Australia tonight to watch them play Ireland, and everyone's they're trying to teach us who all the players are and stuff, and all we really want to know about is Sam Kerr, the world's finest female player. Yes, I know it's big, but it ain't that big. But we're being told it is. And what happens when hype gets built up too much, disappointment follows soon afterwards. So that's what I'm worried about. We're building them up too much.
Okay, that's why I'm saving the Warriors to last, mate, because we're not...
I love the Warriors.
So don't you... You're Dolphins. Don't you jump on this bandwagon, mate. No.
No, I'm my second favourite thing. Oh, God, mate, they're great. Are there kiddies getting perms like Devlin Watani?
Everyone wants that. Everyone wants the Devlin, mate. I mean, even look, two guys like us, if you could grow that salad at the back of your head, you would, wouldn't you?
Oh, mate, I'd even go for a Clint Gutherson. Not at this stage of my life. Anyway.
To hear the full interview, download the platform at the App Store. Via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to the whole show and all of the interviews in full. 2:45. I'm the Minister of Common Sense, and I always am.
We need to talk.
Well, why don't you...
need to
Yeah,
talk.
right.
Next!
Do you want to live to see another day?
What has more chance of happening, Lachlan? The Football Ferns beat Norway tonight in the World Cup opener. Or someone in the mainstream media writes and publishes a truthful account of our team's chances.
What's more likely? Can I plead the fifth? Because I don't think either are happening.
Well, there's zero chance of anyone in the mainstream sports media being in any skerrick of honest about anything to do with the Football Ferns. So
shockingly, I might actually say the first one. I might say the Football Ferns there's more chance that they'll win.
Well, what is more chance of happening here, Lachlan? The Football Ferns beat Norway tonight in the World Cup opener, or it doesn't rain at Eden Park.
Well, that's a certainty. It's Auckland. Oh, well, yeah, okay. The Football Ferns, there's probably more of a chance that they win.
All right, what is more chance of happening here, Lachlan? The Football Ferns win their opening World Cup encounter against Norway tonight, or Stuart Broad goes on to become the leading Test wicket taker of all time.
He needs 200 and...
He needs 200, and even 200. No, because Murali finished on 800, so he needs another...
Okay.
He only needs another 200 wickets.
So he'd need an extra... you need to put on 25% of his... Oh, okay, I won't get into maths, but I don't know. He's been... How old is he, 38?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's probably more likely the Football Ferns win.
What is more chance of happening, Lachlan? The Football Ferns beat Norway tonight at Eden Park in the World Cup opener, or SVG wins the Verizon 200.
Oh, Shane wins.
Shane wins?
That's more likely.
Okay, so that's on August the 14th.
It's at Indianapolis, but it's one of the interior tracks, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's called.
So it's not an oval.
It's called Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but it's not where they race.
It's not the actual,
the 500. I'm pretty sure.
Rectangle.
Is it a figure of 8 track, or it's a different? Yeah. This is a great story, and if he hadn't have won in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, would he be invited to race that one? I'm not so sure. But what does this also tell you about where he's going to end up? This says a lot to me, the fact that he's racing.
I didn't think he'd get a second drive so quick.
Neither.
I thought he'd get a couple next year. So this is huge.
It's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it means, well, I think after his victory in Chicago, everyone's like, no, he has pretty much said he wants to leave supercars and go try NASCAR. This is just, he could even get a seat there next year.
Final one. Next. What is more chance of happening here, Lachlan? The Football Ferns upset the apple cart and beat Norway in the World Cup opener tonight, or the UAE beat the Black Caps in this 3-match T20 series starting in a couple of weeks in the United Arab Emirates.
What's more likely?
What's more likely if
the UAE beat us in the T20 series?
Mate, don't you dare.
There's 3 matches. You can lose the first and still win the series. The Football Ferns are not good. Norway are quite good.
That's our podcast for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to listen to the entire show 1 till 4 Monday to Friday, download the Platform app, and via Platform Plus you can go back and listen to whatever shows over however many weeks at your leisure, at your listening pleasure. Platform Plus. First thing to do though is download the Platform app.
Devlin.
Unbelievable. Incredible.
The Platform.